When there's trouble, you know who to call.
Tape Man.
Teen Titans!
Tape
From
Man.
their schoolyard, they can see it all. No,
Tape Man.
Shiki, I can't believe you abandoned me. You abandoned me last week. We were supposed to do this MHA
Actually,
video last
actually,
week
I
when you
also abandoned you
abandoned me.
tonight for the same reason
And
because I
then
showed up late.
then I got so mad I abandoned you yesterday because I had
Yeah.
trade school the next day, so I couldn't stay
hmm
up and hang out with you. I abandoned you because you abandoned me. By the way, this is completely relevant to what people are going to be talking about the MHA ending.
Oh, So, fun fact, people always argue, ooh, what's the new big three? If we have one, MHA is a part of it because it's people's reaction to its ending is just as bad as the other two from the big three. It's
Without
fucking
a
earned its
doubt.
place.
I think it's a little different though because like it's like 90% I read a bad leak and now I'm just
To
spreading
be fair,
literal misinformation.
that was a lot of early Bleach ending reactions.
Literally I developed strong feelings based off spoiler images and
Mhm.
just
Oh,
decided what the story was.
there was also a whole lot of literally cannot be fucked to read every sentence in the final chapter. Like, actually could not be fucking bothered.
I know. Okay, so like but before we get to should we start off about the ending or should we start with Deku first?
Oh, we can do Deku first. That'll be fun.
Alright, so do you know Deku is a garbage protagonist because he cries?
Thankfully that one is like the thing is like some people do genuinely still think that, but you don't have to take them seriously because it's just like a vibe thing.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
kind of like
Like,
people who
if you
it's like
want,
if you don't vibe with Takamichi for the same reason. It's like that's okay. You don't
yeah,
have to vibe with them.
yeah. If you would rather have, like Jotaro from JoJo's like big manly stoic man, sure, cool,
Yeah,
awesome.
that's fine.
Yeah,
That's valid.
I like that guy. I like him a lot. So
Yeah.
like
So
again,
if your thing is just you don't
if
like crying characters, that's fine. Don't read MHA. Good for you.
yeah. Do you know what's a very funny like 4chan post that about Deku crying a lot that I really liked?
Oh no.
All right,
It's a 4chan post. It can't be
he
good.
said the reason why 4chan hates Deku is because they have to self-insert onto every MC so that
This was
so because he's like a crybaby little cuck boy, they can't self-insert. And then when Mirio came in, apparently some people on 4chan like a group didn't like Mirio, thought he was like a Mary Sue or whatever. And it's like you guys don't like Mirio because he's cucking Deku. He's what everything Deku should be but better. You guys
Oh,
don't
well, he
like
was
Mirio.
cucking Deku from the self-insert statusness.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
super. Hey, that's like the inverse of Nux Taku's take on Deku.
Oh yeah, it is. And what
So
is that?
Nux Taku did his typical "I'm so edgy and cool, everyone's gonna cancel me" when he made an anti-MHA video. When was it? Like fucking like 2021.
Yep.
So like, all right, let me check what it was because it was like 2020. So
Which was
like
about the
at this
peak of
point,
MHA's overrated fan bases cringe because they're all
yeah.
making
So
cringe
so just
TikToks and
typical Nux
such.
pretending he's spicy when he's not. Um, and he brought up some interesting points early on. He brought up the striking great point that Deku isn't selfless because when he jumped at the slime monster, it wasn't going to work. Now, you could say it's a character flaw that Deku jumps into situations that he's not able to fix. I'd say early on that's made very clear.
Yeah.
People criticize him for that all the time. But Nux Taku instead does it from the angle of, first of all, he says everyone in the series calls Deku selfless. They don't. I don't think that term ever gets dropped. They call him heroic because he's a hero. Or they say he's like self-sacrificing, which he objectively is.
Yeah.
So Nuxtaku's first angle is making up a definition of selfless, pretending that's a core to Deku's character, and then saying he doesn't fit it. Flawless argument. I can't
But
refute it.
Shiki, the real flawless argument is that Deku didn't actually want to be a hero to help people. He wanted to be a hero so he could be he could be famous and sell merchandise.
That was in one of his first videos. He didn't say that in the newer one, thankfully. But yes, Nuxtaku did deadass say Deku wanted to be a hero for fame, which is some S tier. You
I
watch
know.
the anime, so I can't say literacy. S tier deafness, I guess.
And like this isn't like some like fringe like take from some fringe YouTuber. Like this is Nux top like literally like a million sub channel. So like
Yeah, why do we bring him up? Because his Deku video was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Other fucking all right. Then he brought up what I think is a fair you don't vibe with Deku take, which is you don't like that Deku didn't train until he knew he was getting superpowers. If you don't fuck
He
with
should
that,
have been
like you don't.
Asta. Should have been
Oh yeah,
Asta.
basically, if you don't fuck with that, you don't vibe with him. That's fine. But I think it is interesting and core to his character that Deku didn't train until he. I guess I can keep comparing him to Asta. Core differences. One is Deku is a lot more of a realist than Asta is.
Yeah.
Deku's not stupid. Deku knows that he'd fucking die. Like Deku early on has a lot of lines where he's like, "I was lying to myself," or it's like Deku was lying to himself and he said, "I would be a hero," which is why he never actually took the major steps because he kind of knew it was impossible. And Compared to Asta, who one is a fucking idiot, and two, in complete defense of Asta, he lived in the fucking sticks where he had met like three mages in his whole life. He didn't know how outclassed he was.
He
He
was a
actually just had no
countryside
idea.
Chad. He was a countryside Chad, just doing
Yeah.
push-ups, doing farm work, all that
No,
stuff.
quite literally, he had also the thing is when Asta lost, so when he faced the reality Deku faced, he was ready to give up on his dream, and then he was given his great fucking sword. So like
Yeah.
that's annoying. Also, just like metatextual, Black Clover and MHA were coming out at like the same time, so the fact that Deku and Asta were very similar but very different was actually kind of fun. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, these two are different, but I can compare them. I'm having a good time. But wait, Puff, I'm fucking stupid. I just implied that you can't be a hero without a quirk, which is utter nonsense, says people
What?
who pretended they read Vigilantes.
But dude, Knuckle Duster from Vigilante, doesn't he just like punch out like I don't know, like Nomus, like whole Nomus,
Okay,
like
no,
that,
all
like the
right. So
Nomu that
here's so
entered, he beats up Nomus. So like, can't Deku just do the same? Can't he
all right.
just like
So
be a
here is
punchy boy?
why Deku can't be Knuckle Duster for several reasons that are made clear. Like it's regularly explained why Knuckle Duster can only function like this because he's not technically a hero. One, Knuckle Duster has to do tons and tons of planning, which is normal, but he does it for literal like street thugs that Kirishima could like 1v1. Um, Two, he has to use potentially deadly force whenever he fights. Heroes, as you guys hopefully know, aren't supposed to kill people unless you're like Hawks and you work for the government, or
Yeah.
like they all work for the military. Heroes aren't supposed to kill people. Whereas he is always potentially hospitalizing
Mm.
everyone he fights.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
other
part of
other pro-
Endeavor's like low approval rating was because he was so brutal, like more so than the
yeah,
average hero, because he had fire
yeah. Even in
powers.
Vigilantes, he threatens to kill someone. Everyone's like, "You're not like going to, right?" And Endeavor's like, "Listen, I can't think of a better solution." And so it's like, "That's fucked up, dog." um, no, and then other reasons is like the like crazy people Knuckle Duster beats are like early on his wins. Half the time he loses these fights too, but his wins early on are literally fighting like street thugs or normal people on drugs.
Yeah,
That's it. And also
like
the other thing that makes Knuckle Duster does have very impressive reflexes and fighting experience, which he got because he was a hero with a quirk for most his life.
but dude, like Stain became a master swordsman. Like it has nothing to do with his quirk. Like he could keep with a speedster
Oh,
like
you mean
Deku.
Spain who kills people? Like his whole thing is based around
Well,
lethality?
yeah. Well,
Oh, why doesn't a hero just do that?
Why doesn't Deku just like load up some trank guns and get a bunch of trank
Mhm.
guns and shoot villains
Yeah,
in the face with his trank guns?
it's pretty clearly that. And then also other things is when the two times Knuckle Duster actually fights like high tier strong, not even high tier, like just strong opponents. First time it's someone he's been planning to fight for years, so he has like 500
And
countermeasures, and
also,
he still almost.
this was a guy that
And,
literally had the quirk he used to have,
no, no,
right?
no.
Like,
I'm talking about his daughter.
oh, okay.
He had like 500 countermeasures, one of which included him faking his death with a defibrillator. He was ready for that shit. And then again, this was like just a fairly strong villain. Like anyone in the top 10 could have obliterated them without even trying. And
Well,
then
all
he
right,
does fight
but
someone
like,
who used to have his quirk. so he knows every single fucking weakness. And guess what? He fucking loses.
I know. Dude, I remember like the best part of that fight was when he made that recording sped up and it's like, hey, I know you're listening to this because you have you have my super speed quick, and I could hear things really, really fast, and so you can actually listen to this really fast sped up recording. And while you've been listening to this really fast sped up recording, I'm about to shoot you in the back of the head.
Yeah. So here's the thing with Knuckle Duster. Also, another thing that he mentions during one of his final fights, he says he has a usual cocktail of drugs he takes before fights to keep him on his feet. So also
why doesn't
he's
Deku
like
just take drugs? Deku should just take
That's
drugs.
illegal. That's illegal. That's illegal.
They should make it. They should make it legal so that Deku can.
Why can't Deku just dope up on painkillers every time he goes out into school?
Yeah.
So yeah, no. Deku's completely irrational and not doing that. So like, that's fair.
But to be fair, like the author could have literally in any way like made Deku a Batman. Like maybe he could have just made normal people physically stronger, or like he could have made like Deku like, give Deku access to tech or whatever. Like if he wanted to, he could have made Deku so like there's a whole like army
there's
of people.
World building argument, in which case world building wise it makes complete sense for someone quirkless to not be a hero. And then narrative wise, if you wanted Deku to be Batman, drop the series at chapter 3.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know. Like, I was about to say, like, there's a whole arm of people that think Deku should have been Batman, and it's just like, why though? Like, I'm getting these people. I know they have not read a single Batman comic in their life. They're just thinking about how Batman is typically used in like a Justice League setting, right? Where like, oh, he has no powers, but he's still like the best hero because he's the smartest boy with like the 10 bajillion IQ, Giga Brain, and all that. And it's just like, dog, like it. That's not what the premise of My Hero is at all. It's not about a guy proving you could be the best hero by starting way behind everyone else. Like, all the drama around Deku's character is centered around his low self-esteem, feeling unworthy to inherit the power of his idol, and his relationship with Bakugo, which all play in and feed into one another in very obvious ways. So if you want say the premise of the story should have been different, you have to convince me that the premise we have is not worth telling, which you can't.
It's the equivalent of being like Naruto should have been about grounded real ninjas, not a guy in an orange jumpsuit. And it's like, why did you come here? Go away.
I know. So like, if you're not gonna critique the story for like at least like, if your critique's not actually, if your critiques aren't couched in the narrative, then I don't care. Because like I could just as easily say Deku should have just been Booster Gold. Deku should have been Booster Gold. He should have been a time traveler from the future who traveled back in time to be a hero because it was too hard to be one in the 31st century. So he decided to go back in time and use his high tech to try and get ahead. That should have been Deku's.
He should have been.
Yeah, Deku should have been Booster
Green
Gold.
Lantern.
Yeah, he should have
been Green Lantern.
Should have been Wonder Woman, honestly. Like, should have been Wonder
Yeah, there's
Woman.
a lot of people Deku could have been, but wasn't. What a load of shit. So anyway,
also like again, this is like the hard work crowd again. Like I think like all shown have to be centered around this one idea, or else it's bad. Like if your main theme isn't hard work can overcome all. I don't care if your main character has certain advantages, especially because, in this case, with great power comes great responsibility. Deku suddenly has the greatest responsibility, and his self-destructive nature leads him to literally break his arm every fight, or else he feels like he's not worth having the power. Like, he's like, I have to break my arm to be worthy of this. I have to push myself as hard as possible to be worthy of this. And of course, All Might's like, yeah, you do that, because that's basically what All Might did. And that leads to, like, pretty much all the drama that's centered around Deku's character.
Yeah.
Most of it.
And then, it's so fucking stupid how people don't
so
think.
Dumb.
It's like, how do people, it is weird how people, and the thing about hard work is, I've brought this up with like every sports series and also most battle shonen. The reason hard work isn't a central theme is because it's a given. Of course you're working hard. You're trying to surpass All Might. What else would we be doing more?
I know. No. It's like these people's problems aren't actually like, the character's not working hard. It's, they're working hard, but they also like have a certain talent or an ability other people don't have. So it's like you don't actually care how hard the protagonist
have anything that made it easier to be a hero. Batman didn't have a single fucking thing that made it easier to be nothing at all.
not a single dude. Shiki, he was just a normal guy. Anyone could have been Batman.
Yeah, as you know, when you become an orphan, you magically become a billionaire. Yeah, that's always goofy.
I remember like people said like Mirio should have went Batman to quote teach Deku a lesson unquote. So
Oh,
like,
that's such Nux Taku shit because that was the
that
last
is.
major section of Nux Taku's video. Was him saying Deku sucks because Mirio should have been the main character and gotten the quirk because I like Mirio more. And why does he like
Yeah.
Mirio more? Because hard work beats natural talent.
Yeah, and it's cool to like Mirio. There's a lot of things to love about
Yeah,
Mirio.
I like Mirio a lot. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, but it's just like it's. I think it was a lot cooler when the whole should have been Batman or like I guess should have been Iron Man thing was given to All Might because
Oh,
in
wow, sweet.
chapter 1 he saw a quirkless kid try and do everything he can to help his friends even though it's very ill advised to do that without a quirk. And so now he without a quirk is now using all the resources he has available to him to do whatever he can to help out in the only way he knows how basically because he's not a good teacher. Like he tries to be a good teacher but like he has that like teaching for dummies thing. He's not that
He
great
is,
at it.
yeah, he gave like one piece of good advice to every student. And that was like the best he did.
Yeah, so but like that's what he's known for is that like or like what he thinks he does best is literally fighting. So he tries to find a way to do that again in order to help and lighten the load for Deku in any way he can. Even though like he's still like very limited with what he could do with the Iron Man
Right.
suit, at least compared to
Okay,
the top
so
tiers.
yeah. And then with Mirio more, the whole people really misunderstand the difference between Deku and Mirio. The story doesn't even say Mirio is a bad hero per se. He's not. The
Not at
point
all.
is um the one thing a hero, especially the quote, because this is when they're both fighting over who should have been a symbol of peace replacement, an idea
Yeah,
that is later established to be stupid in the first place. You shouldn't have a symbol of peace. But and one thing is the symbol of peace needs to inspire hope in people. And that is the one thing Mirio failed to do when they encountered Eri the first time. Like even if you want to argue him letting them go was more rational, that's fine. But as Overhaul outright says to Mirio during their fight, Eri doesn't view Mirio as a savior at that point. She only views Deku as one because Deku was actually showed her compassion and gave her something to look forward to, where Mirio was like Night Eye, so cold and calculating that the people didn't feel any sense of like hope or a future from him.
yeah.
That was Mirio's failing.
Yeah, and like obviously, like no one would blame Mirio for acting the way he did. Like he's still like an exceptional hero in pretty much
Yeah,
every way you
like
can
what
imagine.
Night Eye even says is what makes Mirio a great hero is that even through what you could argue was a mistake, they were able to use what came of it to create a really good situation.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
dude,
not like
he
Mirio's a
deserved
bad
all for
hero.
one. He deserved all for one because he was just cooler than Deku.
I don't care. Also, like, I remember Duck's talk. He's like, Mirio got bullied and ostracized for his quirk, and then you look back, and it's just his friends like laughing at him because his clothes fell off, and it's like, I think he's fine.
Yeah, no, like it
I
doesn't
think
even
he's
like
fine.
a dark backstory or anything. It's just like he seems like just a normal, nice, upstanding guy who's a little
Like, it's the
goofy.
equivalent of like getting made fun of because you have like a bad jump shot. Like, you're fine. You're fine. You'll live.
But dude, what about the people who say MHA would be 200% better if Deku was a girl?
Do people
These
say
people
that?
these people only say this for one reason, and it's because they have a bully fetish and think it would be hot if Bakugo bullied a girl instead of a guy.
Oh, okay, that's super funny. Okay.
Yes.
So just the straight version of the people who already have that fetish, but with current Deku and
Yes,
Bakugo.
yes, yes.
Okay, very funny.
But dude, Deku not staying a hero after losing his quirk in the epilogue is character assassination because he should have learned like to be a hero, you just run up and punch people.
Yeah, dude. That's true.
Which like it's not like the story went out of its way to introduce other ways people can be a hero, like either being like they have the whole school festival about how like just like music can help lift people's spirits and all that. In that you could be a great teacher, which is what Deku is because he used all of his like notebook knowledge that he spent like all his time studying heroes for to help that one kid try and figure out what to do with his quirk in the epilogue and all that. It's like, oh, you're bringing up some established things Deku did and working it back into him being a cool teacher. And it's like, I guess like one fair critique against is that like Deku doesn't have much in the field experience compared to others because he only spent a few years with doing hero work.
But it's
But
like,
like
he had a pretty fucking intense few years.
well, oh yeah, no, it like literally the most intense 3 years you can imagine doing hero work.
So like, I'm not exactly gonna make. Deku's
Also,
not smart enough.
this is one thing people forget is that Deku is one of the few people on the planet with experience wielding multiple quirks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like single digits amount of people have done that.
yeah. Which is also why he was given the Iron Man suit, because like the All Might says like you have experience with multiple quirks. The Iron Man suit does a lot of things, so like I think you'd be a good fit. But dude, did you know that Deku relying on his friends proves he's inferior to All Might?
Oh my god. Oh, that's actually like so stupid. It hurts my brain. Okay, here's the thing. A lot of people, I guess I won't talk about the ending too much, but a lot of people always bitch about the whole Deku didn't become the greatest hero thing. Did no one read Edgeku where it switched from this is how we all became the greatest hero? Like, was I the only one who fucking read that?
No, no one read the best arc. They just skimmed it, and I don't
Because
like it.
that's the thing. The point is that the symbol of peace as a concept is incredibly flawed. It is such a shit idea.
Yeah.
And the
Because
point
when you
is,
have one guy who's basically holding up your entire like society, and suddenly he can't do that anymore, now you got to scramble to find a new
yeah,
one.
and not to mention the fact that the guy himself doesn't do very well when that happens
Yeah.
because that's way too much pressure for one fucking human. So yeah, that's kind of just a given. Or it's just
Dude,
like, come on, man.
you know what that reminds me of?
What?
There's this one really cool issue of Superman the Man of Tomorrow, where like
Yeah.
basically like Superman takes over Alice's job for a day to hold up the sky. And it's like, ah, dude, he's like holding everything up, but like he announces that this would be his day off, and he said like, Superman, why would you do that? Superman's just gonna go run rampant now. It's like, no, no, no. I have faith in people because he inspired other people to be better like him. Other heroes like knew that was happening and picked up the slack for him. So even though it's like, oh, he's the only one holding up the sky and all that, it's like everyone else is also doing their part because he inspired them to do that. I think that was really cool and great, wholesome chapter, and I liked it. Or issue.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So next is why didn't Deku lose both of his arms?
Oh my god. People are actively mad. Or they say like he got his arms back too soon. Bitch,
Too
how
soon.
many
Too
chapters is he
soon.
gonna run around bleeding out with his fucking arm?
I'm just imagining him headbutting Totoro
Like, how long
Shigaraki
do you
now.
also like Eri trying to get to Deku was established before he lost his arms. So you should have been able to predict what was going to
Dude,
happen if you had a fucking brain.
when she had her little backpack over her shoulder and was like ready to run out, that was the cutest thing.
Yeah, and it's like you knew what was going to happen. You knew what that meant because you're not stupid.
Yeah.
And it's
And
also just like, and people said like this proves there's no stakes. It's like, dog, how many fucking shonen protagonists permanently lose a limb?
yeah, I mean, it's just like people say like injuries like don't matter, which like I think MHA might be the one battle shonen I can think of where they matter the most
Yo,
because
MHA loves permanent injuries.
yeah, because like aside from just like epic symbolism, like I don't know, like the Todoroki's family members all like
Mm-hmm.
getting burned and
Okay.
scarred at different
Alright,
points of the
yeah,
story.
nice.
Like Deku literally changed his whole fighting style because he needed to minimize injury in his arms. Can you name another shonen protagonist who had to do that to like change their fighting style to prevent long term damage?
The closest we got is just Naruto had to stop being bad at the Rasen Shuriken.
Yeah,
He
and
didn't
that's
have to
not the
change
same
how he
thing
used it. He just
really.
had to stop being bad at it.
Yeah,
No, no,
it's like
Deku
the
always had to evolve his fighting style because that's the whole thing. By emulating All Might, so trying to be the symbol of peace is toxic and damaging. But by emulating his classmates, so by being more homogenous and widespread with who you rely on and look up to and help, he was able to build abilities that are more stable and good for him. Would you fucking look at that? And that's why Deku doesn't become a symbol of peace, who everyone looks up to. He becomes a teacher who helps people in a widespread fashion. God, it's so obvious and good, but people don't get it because they're dumb and want Deku to be Naruto or something.
I know, dude. Like, we also have a comment asking us to talk about how the Edgeku arc was misunderstood. By the way, we keep calling it Edgeku, but we're talking about
Oh,
the time where Deku spent away
uh,
from the school and like
okay, so here's
like
the
Deku alone.
explanation for that. We well before Edgeku even started, we joked about because like Dark Piece, we always joked that like, dude, when are we gonna get Edgeku? Like Puff's been reading MHA since chapter one. I've been
Yes,
reading it since the Mirio arc.
chapter one, baby.
So he and I have both
I am
read it
superior to
for a
all of
very
you because I was there
that
since
is
day
true.
one, so my takes are
And
objectively the
yeah,
best.
and I've been reading it since the Mirio arc. So he and I both have been reading it for a long time. so he and I would always joke that like, yo, Edgeku incoming, because everyone always said Edgeku wasn't serious enough. So when he actually got like an angsty
I
arc,
know.
we called it the
Oh,
Edgeku arc
I
every
loved it.
week, and
I
it's
loved it.
stuck in our. Edgeku's
Best
not even a
arc.
good name because it could also apply to Goku, but I don't care.
That was by far the most exciting stretch of the story to read weekly, and it is just like still my
No,
favorite.
I
I
think
love
I think it was
like
I think it
you
was
just
second.
you literally just exaggerated all of Deku's character flaws and brought them to the forefront, and then like had it come to a head, and it was so cool and great. Like
Yeah, it was
his low self
phenomenal.
worth, like his self destructive nature, his need
How
to
it
imitate
ties into
All
All
Might.
Might.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was so cool and good. And Lady Nagant was really hot too.
Yeah, Puff. Check general. Check the voice chat general for this one.
Oh yeah,
He
no,
uploaded that like
yeah.
10
I saw
hours
that. I
ago.
saw that. I saw that. I saw
Horikoshi
that.
is so cool. Anyway, um, uh, what else do people say about Deku that's like bad about him?
Well, there's one other thing to get to, and it's that we kind of brought it up earlier. He's literally a cuck.
Oh,
Literally
if I
speaking.
mean if you think that's a funny
Literally.
no, if you think that's a funny meme, that's fine.
No, it
Uh,
is fine. Like I remember there's that like image of
It's
like
quite literally
that
like if you
edit.
think it's a funny meme, good for you. I don't
Yeah, no.
mind. Yeah,
There's
post
that.
your
Yeah.
S tier
No, no, no,
edit,
no, 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 no,
please.
no. Don't spoil it for them. Okay, so there's this one really funny image of Bakugo like grabbing Uraraka's ass, like some edit from the final chapter, right? And then I took that, zoomed out, and made one where Shoji's grabbing everyone with his 100 arms. It's like, yes, this is the ending I want. I want this
Mhm.
ending. uh but dude, do you know
Yeah,
why?
it's
You know why
oh
it's
yeah.
bad Deku got cucked? You know why he got cucked?
Even though he didn't, but like
Because
sure.
Uraraka is a gold digging whore.
People have okay, I think what they say
A
is
teacher's salary is
Ochako.
not enough. You
Okay,
need
so
that
what people
merch money.
say yeah, so what people say is once Deku stopped having a quirk, Ochako didn't want to like I don't know, date him anymore, so she stopped hanging out with him, which is like, no, are you stupid? Are you dumb?
Yeah,
What's wrong with you?
like long story short, we both agree that like Uraraka should have confessed in like the second to last chapter to
It would have
Deku.
been yeah, because yeah, MHA's ending, while I think it was good, it could have been longer, which applies to like almost every fucking manga on the planet. When we talk about the ending, we'll get into why that happens.
Yeah. So like basically we wanted Uraraka to confess because like her whole thing with Toga was that like, oh, you know, you shouldn't repress your feelings and all that. So like I kind of thought that that would be the natural conclusion. She finally tells Deku how she feels, and like to be fair, she tells Toga how she feels, so that's like progress on her part. Just that you could have made it a lot more climactic and like you know put a nice little bow on it instead of like it just feels a little like unfinished, frankly, as it is now. But
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, dude, why? Where the ending was so bad because where's my ships? My ships.
Okay, so
Where's my
here's the thing.
ships?
I
Where's
blame
my hybrid
uh
kids? Where's
I
all
blame
my hybrid
Kishimoto.
kids?
I blame Kishimoto for this,
I
because
do too.
ever since Naruto's ending, people have had it in their fucking heads. Every goddamn battle shonen has to end with all of the obvious hetero couples getting together and having their kids, so you can all have your ships and your potential future fan fictions, blah blah blah. But the thing is, people act like it's like a golden rule, but it has to happen. Naruto's the only one that did that. Don't you fucking lie to me.
Dragon Ball did it because like the
I,
original the original
no,
Dragon
no.
Ball and Dragon Ball
Here's
Z
what. So
are
here's
separated. They're
no
not the same thing
wrong.
at all.
So here's how Dragon Ball ended. Gohan married his girlfriend. Fucking shocking.
And
I am
like that's a weird example because Goku's literally a dad halfway through.
no, he
Like
is. He is.
we kind of leap over that hurdle pretty early.
And then we have like I think one of the closest ones is Demon Slayer. When it ends, has implied final relationships for the main three guys. But then we cut to the future where it is so fucking genetically disconnected, and also there's reincarnations of a bunch of people who died as kids. So like, fuck off. You don't know
I
if you know some of them are descendants, like we know Tanjiro has an descendant, but we don't know if all of them are. We don't fucking know.
I think
It's reincarnation.
yeah.
Fuck off.
I mean, like, you might be able to point to JoJo, for example. That's a bad one because, like, literally the reason why we learn who the descents are is because they're the next protagonist, and
Well,
that's the
also
whole
that only
thing.
works if
There's
we
like
do the
7 of them. There's a
thing.
whole anthology
Yeah, yeah.
of
No, it
JoJo
only works
protagonists.
if we pretend JoJo is 8 different series and not one really fucking long series,
Yeah.
which it is. Um, because here's the thing, like I agree that Deku and Ochako's thing could have been explored a little bit more, and I would have liked it. That's not to say, like some people have, that the romance was for no fucking reason. Because to be honest, Ochako's feelings for Deku had more to do with her dynamic with Toga than it did with her ending up with Deku. Because it was like something they had in common, showing that like Toga was just kind of like a normal lady, and how she wanted to talk about that with Ochako, but Ochako rejected her. So it wasn't for nothing. It had a purpose. But yeah, so if like this thing explored more. Other ships that people bitched about. Why didn't Kaminari and Jiro get together? Who cares? What if they're straight friends? What if all the people who think Jiro and Momo are gay were right? What then, fucking loser? um,
What if she marries some random guy in a band?
true. What if she just married another hero? What if that happens? Todoroki and Momo only talked in the first half of the series, so fuck that one.
But dude, they're both epic rich kids who got in
Mhm.
on recommendations. So like
Yeah, dude.
they're
So they
like
have to get
yes, they gotta
together.
make kissy. They gotta make
So
kissy.
yeah, a whole bunch of that is just like, dog, if you want your ship so bad, go to fanfic.net because trust me, there are plenty of fanfics for every goddamn MHA ship under the sun. I promise you'll be fine. I think the reason it did catch people off guard is because Horikoshi did have it perfectly no, yeah. That if he wanted to do a Naruto ending, he could, and you could guess almost every single pairing
Oh no,
with
yeah, you
complete
could.
accuracy.
Yeah,
If
no,
he wanted
yeah,
to, you
yeah.
could
If he
guess every
wanted to,
single one within the main cast with complete confidence.
yeah,
And he didn't do that. People are like, fuck. And it's like, okay, but who cares? Kirishima and Mina don't have to get together for their dynamics to be really good because their dynamics just are really good.
yeah. But
Both are just like,
dude, forget about all the ships and stuff. Why did all of Deku's friends straight up abandon him for
mhm.
7 years without talking to him at all? Just ghosting him for 7 straight years.
Okay.
They
So in
abandoned
so
my boy Deku.
okay, so in some people's not defense but explanation, a lot of them are fucking stupid and just read leaks, didn't actually read the final chapter, or they read like a bad translation. Because here's the thing, that Deku said that people are in a hissy fit about. They're so angry. They're so angry that this happened. They're like, how could this happen? I swear to God. Deku says, since we all started working, our time off never seems to line up. It's hard to plan get-togethers.
Yeah,
You ever
which is
heard of
just,
being a fucking adult?
dude. I know it sucks. You lose all your free time and have to
Yeah,
work.
no,
Unless
here's
you're
the thing.
Shiki.
Not
Shiki
only
doesn't have a
did
job. I
but
do.
I'm going to college. I'll have a job soon. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
okay.
You literally were in school the other day. Shut up.
I go to trade school on weekends and I go to work on weekdays.
I go to school every day except for weekends. No, but yeah, it's kind of just like, have you heard of being an adult?
I
Your
know.
your
Just
schedules don't line up. Hell, this is a joke both I and then Mocha made when I told this complaint to him. Do you know why it's a meme that fucking adults can't get together for D&D once a fucking week? Finding out free time is hard.
I know, and like literally, our first dungeon master left on like a spiritual journey like a year ago.
He did. That campaign fucking died.
I know.
So yeah,
So this is the joke you made, is that it's literally jobless behavior when
okay, no,
YouTubers say,
what I said is the combination of people acting like Deku got like a shit life because he's a teacher and also not understanding why adults can't hang out all the time. The combination of that is like, oh, people who like this ending are just jobless.
yeah, oh yeah, they just make YouTube videos, which is like barely a real job if you
Yeah, that's
do have it as a
true. That's
full
why we
time
do
job
this in our
somehow.
free time.
Yeah.
Because being a teacher is fine. If you want to make like low teacher salary as a joke, that's fine. But let's be realistic. He's working for UA. I'm sure he's fine.
I thought all of like the memes of him doing a food service was really
McDonald's, no,
funny.
that was funny. No, those are funny, but
I'm
when the
sorry,
second you try
Bakugo,
to,
but I can't accept your coupon. I can't give you my
uh,
employee discount, or else the manager will yell at me again.
it's sad. It's sad you don't have a good a voice for that as Mocha does.
No, no,
No,
I
but
actually
no,
do
they're
though.
funny memes. But the second people start using memes to try and push actual analysis, they start to come across as the dumbest people.
They do.
What do you mean be a meme? It's like Zoro racism memes. If you start applying that to your actual analysis, I'm gonna need you calm the fuck down. um.
But dude,
Uh.
I thought it was only 3 years because I read the spoilers and thought, oh, that looks like Deku 3 years from now. But then it was 7 years, and I'm like, what? No! This is the guy that literally said
Woo!
that.
I
Literally,
love a
literally,
I
he just
yeah,
read the
literally they're
leaks,
just like I was
assumed.
shocked when the ending was not what the spoiler said. It's like, okay, why should I give a shit what your spoilers say? Why do I care? Also, it's 8 years, not 7. But
Right,
why do I
7.
care? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit that you read spoilers wrong. If anything, you should be smart enough to know to ignore that.
But dude, what about the quirk singularity theory? That ominously dropped plot point.
Okay, so here's the thing about it, because I finished rereading MHA Lurie today, Puff, so I got to see how it was mentioned in the final arc. So I think the best way to look at the quirk singularity theory is through two characters, Garaki, the evil doctor, and Present Mike. The
Yeah.
first time they interact, Present Mike says, "Oh, you're the guy who made that bunk ass Doomsday Theory. Fuck you." And then later we see that whenever a quirk does anything impressive, he's like, "My quirk Doomsday Theory was right. I'm so fucking smart." Ah! Oh, I guess we should clarify what the actual theory is. The
Yeah,
theory is
right.
that like eventually quirks will get so strong that they'll destroy the world, right?
Yeah, you get Todoroki, he has a hot gay sex with a Bakugo, suddenly you have Explosion Ice Fireman, and then
Yeah.
Explosion Ice
So
Fireman has hot gay sex with, I don't know,
no,
Mirio, and then you get, Explosion Ice Fireman, who can also become, invincible and move through walls, and then you just keep
yeah,
going and going.
yeah. So here's the thing. So back to Present Mike. When Present Mike watched Shoji and Kota, two of the weakest Class 1A characters, fighting, he's thinking about Aizawa, and he says, "They say quirks evolve with every generation, and they're right. These kids have already surpassed us." And then the point becomes clear. The point is not to fear the fact that people progress. That's fucking stupid. The problem is when a society is so fucked that one person, because they had a shit life, has the potential to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Also, just like proof that like even though it's coming, it's not that intense. Look at Todoroki's family. You have him who's like a fucking unit and he's great. Then you have Fuyumi and Natsu who are nothing.
4 tries
And
to
then,
get
then you
Todoroki.
have and then you have Toya Dabi. And here's the thing. Was he born with hotter fire than Endeavor? Yes, but his body can't handle it. Does this prove that quirks are too strong for him? No. This happened because of their forced breeding. Because, as they said, his mom's constitution mixed in with his dad's made his flame resistance way lower than it should have been. That's why he gets burned.
Yeah,
He
and
was
like,
burned
you could say
because
that, like, because
they tried to breed the ultimate child.
yeah, and like obviously, like, like you could say, oh, he's built more unstable than other people and stuff like that. But like, if we can agree that, like, two quirks combined can potentially make a stronger quirk, then isn't the possibility that two combine and they make a weaker quirk also possible? Like, is that not true?
What if you get Dark Shadow and like a light related quirk and you're just fucking ass?
Yeah.
No, you're the glowing baby, but also you have Dark Shadow. Actual useless. No, so and the thing is like people are always like, oh, why isn't it addressed? And it's like, do you notice how the only people who strongly believe in quirk singularity are like mainly Dr.
Villains.
Garaki and then All for One, two very evil people who believe all of society's quirks and resources should be controlled by the upper crust because they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Maybe that has something to do with them and how they're fucking evil.
Yeah, and also isn't it crazy that literally like the strongest quirk ever was like the second one to pop into
Oh yeah, that's
existence?
the other thing. While strong quirks keep appearing, the one of the strongest ones of all time was literally the second quirk ever. And hell, to the whole, we were all like some people are like we're already at the Doomsday Theory. I would say we have two natural quirks that fit the standard of having the potential to destroy the world. I would say we have two. Twice and Stars and Stripes.
Yeah. All right.
I think they're the only
Dude, what
two
if Stars and
that come
Stripes and
close.
Twice had a baby? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wow, they can run around and touch so many things.
Oh my god.
Unless the two-touch rule still applies, then it's actually not that good. It's
Oh
basically just a
no.
bunch of yacked twice. What if it doesn't count because they're all separate bodies, so the strength buff only goes to like one? That would either be really good or really shit, depending
uh
on how the properties transferred. So yeah,
Also, MHA is a
why was
rare
it?
example of of its movies actually like being canon and fitting into canon fairly well. Uh
Mhm.
and one of the movies is literally about a cult that believes in the Doomsday Theory. So if you really want that idea explored more, like it exists out there in a piece of My Hero Academia media if you're so
Yeah, that is
interested in it.
good, and you should watch it. It's so bloody. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like all the movies are actually just pretty solid, which is surprising because
Mhm.
I don't think there's any other like shonen series that like manages to do that.
Hold, hold that off, especially because it didn't do the rat thing and just adapt manga chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so good try mention that.
All right,
What's next?
all right, but dude, what about the fact that MHA has 10 movies planned?
I don't think that's true, but if it
But a
is,
YouTuber
I'm
said so.
okay. I don't think that's true, but if it is, that's exciting.
Unironically, yeah. I mean, like, there's the
Okay.
possibility that like some of them are just gonna be like readapting arcs and stuff like that, like condensing
Yeah,
them,
which is disappointing,
like
and
an
I'm
episode
not.
of
Yeah, like some
Alabasta.
recap arcs.
If
Yeah,
we get
those
something like
aren't
that,
gonna be fun.
that'd be disappointing. But like the MHA movies so far have been solid, so like I'd
Mhm.
be happy to get
Oh,
more.
speaking of that, let's talk about the two conspiracies related to the ending. First conspiracy, which is completely illogical. The reason Horikoshi skipped their they were already second years by the time the first war started. I think people forgot that. They were just like not officially given it because shit was busy. But they've been second years for like half the series.
Yeah.
So why wasn't like half of their second year and then all of their third year shown? Well, some genius conspiracy theorists have said that's movie content. Here's the problem with that. That would be movies where Deku's quirkless. So there ain't no way we're getting more than like
No, no,
one
no,
of
dude. He
them.
still has the Embers. He can still use the Embers to punch a villain or something.
You're right. So that yeah, one
They
movie
can
they
make
could
it
do
work. They can make it
one.
work.
They could do one fucking movie. That's a stupid conspiracy. Conspiracy. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why did that? Why did it end there? Because we want to see them as adults. I was fucking 30 years. Oh
I mean,
wow,
I think
I
like
don't
ending it
care.
with a graduation would have made a lot of sense.
It
But
would have been
like,
cute, but I think them as adults is better.
yeah, because like I do like the fact that Deku spent like time as a teacher and then got his Iron Man suit like after the fact.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
fine.
got it, if you got it straight out of graduation, you skip the teacher stuff. That'd be kind of. I think that
Yeah,
might weaken the
that would
point
be
of the ending a bit, but like what I think that'd also be a fair way to end it. Like it'd be
yeah.
good. It'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, all right. And then the second conspiracy, my ships didn't happen because Horikoshi is scared of gay teenager.
I thought you were gonna say that there's gonna be like a My Hero the last movie with like how Naruto and Hinata had a movie after the end of the
No,
series
no,
to
that's part of the
establish.
other, just more cut content for movie shit. No, the other conspiracy is that the reason my ships didn't happen is because Horikoshi is scared
He
of
got
all the
death threats.
teenagers on TikTok giving him death threats. And it's like,
Death
is
threats.
he? Is he? Is he
Death
scared of
threats.
that? Do you know what's the closest I've seen to Horikoshi acknowledge that in the actual manga?
What?
You know when he did the Invisible Girl one where she was behind like tape and a bunch of people are like, "Dog, that is way too horny. What the fuck are you doing?" Um, he did that and it got some a lot of people didn't like it. And then at the start of a volume, he just says like, "Hey, um, I was busy drawing, so I didn't have time to actually come up with a good cover image. So I just used like some scraps from a few years ago. I didn't think a bunch of people would freak out about it. I just thought you guys would like to know the backstory. Anyway, have fun reading Deku versus Shigaraki." um, so yeah, that's the closest I've seen him acknowledge when fans were mad in his actual story. So I don't think he did. Several reasons. One, why would he? I think it's so funny how people are like, the internet has death threats all the time. Why do you care? But then also, when an author gets like a death threat from a 13-year-old, they're like, oh my god, he's gonna alter his story because of this. It's like,
Well,
will he?
I guess like to
Maybe,
be
but
fair,
like,
like you know, like
I'm,
pe- people do look into like like maybe one of his editors like did the market research. Like I'm just imagining what these people might imagine, and I was like, Horikoshi, man, you gotta follow the market research. And then it's like, all right, I'll follow the market
But the thing
research.
is, it's the final chapter, so they actually like it's a bit late for that.
I get, yeah.
um, because like if they really didn't want Deku to look like he was gonna get with anyone, they probably would have stopped him from doing the Ochako romance a lot earlier.
Yeah. And
Uh,
it's so
the,
weird that like two like channels that like weren't even really analysis channels, like maybe one of them was, I don't know him that well, but like IX Tizzy and Jax Blade, the workout guy, unironically just had correct norm takes about the ending because they didn't base it off of spoilers
leaks and
and leaks.
vitriol.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, like, this is just, I read the ending and this is what I think about the ending, and not, oh my god,
Like,
Deku was
yeah,
abandoned by his
they're
friends.
like, this was cool. If they did this, would I have liked it? Maybe, but what they did was kind of cool. Oh, it could have been longer here. Just like
Chaco
normal
should
humans.
Chaco should have confessed to Deku, but like otherwise, she pretty much.
Maybe that montage of them should have been like a few chapters. I would have liked that. Just like normal fucking takes, which I love. I love normal takes. Oh, by the way, when I said people can't read, one was the whole we can't meet up very often. The other is a bunch of people acted like Deku getting the super suit didn't happen. Like when it says the end and then All Might comes and grabs it. It seems like they just saw the end and then closed it, because a bunch of them do act like, oh, Deku's fucked. Deku's just this shit ass teacher. I hate him. First of all, being a teacher's fine. What's wrong with you? Second of all, he doesn't. He's a teacher for 8 years and then he becomes a hero again. So like, also again, that's the other thing they say. Class 1A did nothing to help Deku, even though there's literally the line
Oh my
where it
god,
says
they literally
to
got
get
him
your
his
super
Iron
suit
Man suit.
was funded by your old chums from Class A, led by Bakugo. That's the opposite of abandoning him. They literally did like charity work for him. Oh wait, that reminds me of a similar critique people had. Why didn't the Japanese government, give Deku an Iron Man suit? Which is like, what?
Hey,
Are
listen,
you
listen.
even
If
talking about?
it could have been written that way if the story wanted to, but also like the government doesn't owe Deku shit. Like if he wants to give him like a
It's really
pension for
funny
like
to
as a
just be
hero,
like,
give Deku a
Japan.
pension, give him like medical bills, pay for his medical bills,
No,
stuff like that. But like,
the joke I made is like they someone from class and I storms into like a building office and gets like a serious meeting. Like, you need to give Deku a super suit that costs a bajillion dollars right now. And they're like,
we have
okay, so
houses
here's
to
the
build.
thing.
We have
Um,
houses to build.
we're busy fixing the country, so that's top priority. Second of all, does that even exist, or are we paying to have the technology made? Third, um, that's expensive. Fourth and finally, no. What's wrong with you? We're not gonna put $1 billion into getting some kid a super weapon. Do you want
Listen,
him to have
man.
veteran? Like literally, they'd be like, we can give him veterans funds if
Yeah,
you want.
give him a pension. Give him the
Yeah,
pension for saving the world.
it's so stupid. It's just like people. I think people just didn't like that it was not even that subversive, but like it subverted like two of their expectations.
Yeah,
So they
like
just got like livid.
Deku didn't become the epic symbol of peace greatest hero. He just became another hero amongst the
Mhm.
greatest generation of heroes.
No, because and also the thing is like Deku was for a brief moment the greatest hero, and we know he was because
He kicked
kids look
Shigaraki really hard.
kids look up to Deku. When Deku was a second year, all of the new first years wanted to meet and say hi to him. And when Deku is walking around on the street and he meets Plate Boy, Plate Boy immediately recognizes him and says, "Holy fucking shit, it's Deku! What the hell?" It's like Deku is well known and renowned as a hero figure, and yes, it was shown because the people are like, "Oh, they said it, they didn't show it. They showed it, you fucking idiot." Uh,
Yeah, disc
and
boy.
it's also like they're like, they lied to us. Deku said he would become the number one hero, and then he didn't. It's like, no, he didn't. He would said
Read
greatest.
Edgeku.
It's also
Read
like, no, no,
Edgeku.
but the thing is, like, he would be number one. Deku never said that in like narration. He always says, "This is the story of how I became the greatest hero," which you can read two ways. Either A, he became the greatest during the Shigaraki fight, or B, they're all the greatest hero. What you can't say is actually when he said greatest, he meant number one, and then he didn't become number one. I've been lied to. That's stupid. That's dumb.
Yeah,
You're disingenuous.
yeah.
Oh, other ending complaint. Where's Deku's dad?
That's not a real. That's not a real opinion. No one
Okay, so
had.
here's the thing.
That's not
I
a real one.
understand Okay, so here's the thing. I will defend them before I'm mean to them. Defense. Apparently, in an interview way back in the day, people asked about Deku's dad, and Horikoshi said, "Oh yeah, I'll show him in the story later," and then he didn't. So if you had your expectations set and are bummed they didn't get met, that's valid. That's fine. That's fine to be like, "Oh man," to act like that is a writing flaw. No, when an author says they're going to do something in an interview, they are not like contractually obligated to do it. That's not how that works. They can change their mind.
And like just looking at the story, like reading it from like page 1 to chapter 1 to the end, it's just like, does Deku's dad ever like play a significant role, or is he ever hinted to be a significant figure? Not like
No.
once, not at all. Like it's the type of, it's kind of like Luffy's mom. Like, could the story have pulled out Luffy's mom at any point? Could it still pull out Luffy's mom at any point? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
but it
until
doesn't need to.
but until they do, why should you care about Luffy's mom? You have no reason to until they bring
Yeah,
her
I
up.
actually don't give a shit about Deku's mom. I don't. Or not his mom. I like his mom a lot. I don't give a shit
Mom's
about Deku's
great.
dad. Because why would I care about Deku's dad? I don't fucking care. People are like,
Deku's
oh, he's a
mom,
bad
he's
dad. He's a
got it
bad dad.
going on.
It's like, okay, sure, Deku's dad is a bad dad. That's fine. Okay, sure, why not? My personal headcanon is in the underground fighting ring in Vigilantes, we see a guy who puts a bunch of alcohol in his mouth and then spits it out with flame breath. That's Deku's dad. He's
Hell
secretly
yeah.
an underground fighter, and
Let's
that's why
go.
he's never home.
Let's
That is
go.
my headcanon.
I swear they
Fuck
put that
you.
in just for bait.
I don't think that's why, 'cause he doesn't look like Deku, and he has like a Chinese aesthetic, but I'm gonna say it is anyway, because it's funny. Uh, oh yeah, that. Oh, Puff, you know what's kind of a funny thing I realized about the novel? Not
What's a
the
funny
novel,
thing?
Vigilantes compared to MHA.
What's funny about
Both
Vigilantes?
ended with the main character having a main female lead who clearly had a crush on him, clearly liked him a lot, and then in the final chapter they just do not get together. They just say "fuck you," and that doesn't happen.
Ruh-roh.
So look, they're the same. Both also end with a villain being like, "Oh, you thought you could save me? Fuck you."
I think that's another thing about the ending is that, like, oh dude, why didn't we, there's like two sides that are both wrong. It's like, we should have saved Shigaraki, and the other was like, why does the story want to save Shigaraki? Oh my god, why? He's a terrorist. And it's like, okay, yeah,
You're
like
both half right. You gotta fuse your opinions, and you'll get to the right answer.
yeah,
Because
like
it's
because like when we're first
was
like
what happened.
we're first teased
Yeah,
about the idea of Shigaraki being saved when, like, Deku says, like, I saw a little boy who needed saving, like when he's like saw a glimpse of Shigaraki's past and stuff like that.
yeah,
But like the right after, like in the Edgeco arc, like, he's trying to talk with Muscular and is like saying like, why are you like this? He's trying to understand him, and then he says, okay, there's no choice but to fight you. And then like later at the end of the arc, when he's talking to Uraraka and they're talking about like Toga and Shigaraki, they're like, okay, we have to fight them. Like, we can't not at this point. But like, I wonder how they got that way, and like, is there something we could have done earlier to stop it? Which is just the idea is that, like, not we have to save the terrorists. It's why did the terrorists become one we should empathize? Not they don't want to sympathize with Shigaraki. They want to empathize with him, and that's a very
yeah.
important difference.
Because basically, the story's point is what happened to Shigaraki, Toga, and I would say especially Twice, because Twice died a good person. Not a good person. He was a mass murderer. Twice died a guy who could have been good pretty easily.
Yeah.
Toga also could have been good pretty easily at the end of her fight. Was it tragic what happened to them? Yes. The story doesn't shy away
Yep.
from that. The story isn't like, ooh, they're evil villains and they deserve it. And I think the biggest way to tell that is two characters, Gentle and Spinner. Gentle just gets redeemed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ian Labrava, who I think might be more morally bankrupt than Gentle in some ways, they save the day, and then they start an agency together. Hooray!
Yep.
They are
Good for them.
now good people. And Spinner's cool because even though I guess eventually we'll have like a stuff we didn't like section. Maybe not in this video because we're gonna have several. Unfortunately.
Oh, dude, this is gonna be a saga. This might be longer than the Bleach saga.
Yeah, it might be. It's so fucking annoying. No, but Spinner is essentially a guy who got radicalized. Because like even during the race riot where everyone's like, we gotta fight for ourselves and Spinner's our messiah. They're like, Spinner, what should we do? And he's like, I don't care. Spinner is just like literally a neat gamer. That's what he is. He's a neat gamer who got radicalized into doing fucked up shit. So did they kill him? No, he's just in jail and he's gonna write a comic book about how cool his best bud Shigaraki is.
He was a
Because
gamer.
Spinner's not some like literally that's him being like Shigaraki.
Deku, did you know that in our current day hero society, Gamers are the most oppressed social group.
Thankfully, Spinner does not think
DLC costs too much, Deku. My dad gave an arm and a leg so I could play
Batman.
Shadow of the
There's no
Ur
way
Tree.
Spinner sounds like Batman. What are you doing?
My dad
Spinner
gave
does
up.
not sound
I gave
like
up an
that.
arm and a leg to play Shadow of the Ur Tree, Deku. DLC costs too much. We're oppressed.
Spinner does not. Spinner
Did
does
you
not
know
sound
that
like
My
What are you
Hero
doing?
Academia was just an analog for Gamergate? Did you know that, Deku?
Okay, so anyway, no, Spinner. No, what I like about the Spinner Shigaraki gamer lines, I actually do like it a lot. Is early on, Shigaraki being like into games is like a thing. Like literally, when like early on, especially when he like doesn't have like an ideology at all, he's like, the final boss showed up early, and I'm still in my grinding phase. God damn it. Oh, I see. I thought this was an RPG, but it's actually an open world. He'll say shit like that. And then we meet Spinner, and Spinner says shit like Grand Theft Auto, or like I only learned how to drive from video games. And it's like, oh, these two are similar.
Yeah. You League of Legends? Dude, I played that. Only on solo mode though. All
so
for
at
one
the
said
end,
I'm not
when
allowed to use
Shigaraki-
online.
Yeah, so at the end when he says he was a gamer, it is a funny line, obviously, I'm not gonna deny that's fucking hilarious. But the sentiment behind it is cute because it's literally Spinner bringing up like the most human thing about Shigaraki that he was able to relate to him on.
Yeah.
It's
Like
nice. It's good.
obviously, like the thing with
I
the
like it.
villains in My Hero games, it's like the like. I'm not sure if this will be an opinion later on, but some people do say that like, oh, the villain's just evil for the sake of being evil, which
They
isn't
say
like
the series acts like that, but like that's not true. Outside of
yeah,
maybe One for All or All
yeah.
for One.
Like obviously there's some
Maybe
like
All for One.
muscular is like an absolute asshole who just like should be
Muscular doesn't have any explanation. He
no
just seems to be like that.
the League of Villains uh it's not entirely their fault they ended up the way that they did, and you know like they're clearly sympathetic and all that, but we don't want them to win, and it's maybe too late to save them. But the fact that it's too late to save them is a reflection of like the failures that like, of our societal issues and all that. Toga was failed by like quirk counseling and you know people's refusal to have an open mind about what quirks
People
could do.
adamantly calling her abnormal, which is like the one thing she doesn't want to be called.
Yeah, Toya was, you know, he had Endeavor for a dad, and that was the worst. Twice was a man who needed therapy. He needed therapy above all else, and never
Shigaraki
got
had
it.
an abusive dad, and then also he had a guy give him a death quirk. Um, I would say out of the main one, Magna was literally just trans. She was just trans. And then
That's
like,
fun.
no, funniest thing about Magna being two greatest things about Magna being trans. One, Magna is a trans woman and Tiger's a trans man. So, Horikoshi, Brave King, had a trans fight in his series. Thank you.
Good
um,
job.
um,
I mean, he fridged one,
two,
but
he still did the fight first. And then, second funny Magna thing is how one of the things that makes Overhaul worse than the League is he misgenders Magna where the League doesn't.
yeah, that's one thing I kind of like about
Over-
the other villain groups that Shigaraki interacts with, like the you know the Yakuza guy. Like obviously they
they
say like
all like look down on the people in the League.
yeah, like you know, cause like the two groups in particular I'm gonna talk about, like they're supposed to be like old school and stuff like that. So like you know
Yeah.
them like you know not liking trans people or like you know just looking down and like on misfits in general. Like I really like the Redestro because he has this one line where he says
Redestro.
because
Yeah.
he has this one line where it's like obviously quirks influence personality, so the fact that this boy was given a destruction quirk at birth like just informs his character and stuff like that, which like yeah as like a reader you can kind of internalize that, but like in universe you know Shigaraki wasn't born with that quirk, he was given to it like later in life.
And
And also, there's a whole
anyone with a
subplot with
brain
Kirishima.
knows.
Yeah, a whole
Yeah,
subplot with Kirishima about like how he was kind of cowardly, but like his quirk kind of forces him to try and overcome his fear and all that.
yeah. So does quirk match personality? Not always. If anything, it's more likely that when you're born with something like Dark Shadow, that naturally kind of makes you an edgy fuck.
Yeah, like obviously it can like in the obviously interacting with your quirk will like you know influence
inform
how
personality,
inform your personality and
obviously.
stuff. Like obviously Kirishima felt the need to be like a gung ho guy because like he had to be in order to make use of his quirk and stuff like that.
Like I guess you could
But
say
like it was a choice on
nature-
his on
'cause
his part still.
Yeah, you could say his nature was to be more soft-willed, and he had to like force himself, which you see with a lot of characters. a lot of characters don't start with Deku's "I have to run in and save the day" mindset, but they eventually gain them as they grow, like Bakugo or Big Strong Men who retired from being a hero for a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is good. What else do people say about the fucking ending?
Let's see. What other notes do I have?
They say a lot of dumb shit. I literally can't keep up with it all. All right, here, I guess we'll just do the general one. Why was the ending so awkwardly paced? Which we can then spread to why are so many manga endings awkwardly paced? Well, first, let's get one out of the way. Sometimes mangaka are just fucking tired and just want to get this shit done. Kubo,
Yeah.
my king. And then we have the more realistic one. So here's I think the actual number ranges between like 5 and 3, but typically you have to tell Jump that you are going to finish your series 5 chapters in advance. And at that point, that's it. You get 5 more chapters. Now, I assume any of you with a brain can imagine how that might eventually lead to you pacing a couple things awkwardly.
Yeah, because you have to like,
Because
yeah, you have once you're locked in, you kind of have,
you're locked in. And
yeah.
it's like, oh, shoot, I wanted to explore that more. But if I do, then I have to cut this. And the thing is, like, you could say, oh, well, why don't authors ask for more than they need? It's like, well, then you have the opposite problem of now you have to fluff your ending. Or I would say one of the series that actually nailed its final 5 pretty fucking perfectly is Naruto. And I think there's a pretty obvious reason for that. Kishimoto has written 700 chapters of manga. He's used to this fucking grind by now. I think he probably had an easier time knowing what he wanted.
Yeah. I remember like that was actually a thing like early on in My Hero, like one of the volume things where Horikoshi said like, yeah, I think it actually was Kishimoto like who because he brought up another mangaka giving him advice about like yeah, whenever you plan an arc, whatever chapter length you have in your head, it's gonna double. It's gonna double
Mhm.
because you're
You're
gonna
right.
like there's gonna be things you want to expand on, or there's gonna be like in between moments you weren't thinking about when you were planning it, like build up and stuff like that.
Oh, Horikoshi has a line during Edgeku where he says how long he thinks the war is gonna be, and he says like 5 volumes.
It was not
That
five
was
volumes.
wrong. That was wrong. So yeah, just that's why. Because like manga endings feel like they were either a little too like they cut a bit more than they should have, or like feels like sometimes they feel a little bloated in this area for no reason. That's why. It's because of how the manga industry works. So
Yeah.
just understand that going forward, because a lot of these criticism people do not understand how the manga industry works. Because these are like so stupid, we don't even need to address them. But we found comments like Horikoshi should have taken 3 months off to plan his story. Fucking genius.
Okay.
Horikoshi, when he went on break because he was sick, should have done it at a different time. Fucking stupid. Are you
Oh,
actually
oh my
insane?
god. Okay.
What else did people?
Like clearly like it's fair like because the story exists as it does now. So if
Yeah.
you want Kochika, go ahead. But like if you're gonna offer like real life advice to a guy working in an industry that you have no experience in,
Hmm.
maybe you should not
Yeah.
do
Or
that.
like again, like people were talking about an MHA manga ending, but we had someone say like the OG Dragon Ball ending. So not how the manga worked, because in the manga the ending was the Boo arc. And then you had someone say, "Oh, I thought MHA was gonna be like Naruto, where there was gonna have a Naruto ending and then a Shippuden." And it's like that's anime, you fucking dingus. You
Yeah.
can't talk about manga like that
Dude,
and then not
I'm
know the
wondering in
first
his
thing about
head
manga.
who's the Sasuke analog in that.
I don't
did
fucking
did
know.
My
Okay,
Hero
no.
Academia end with some like very important character be like, sorry, sorry Deku, I'm leaving the school.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, so
leaving
the
I'm
thing was
leaving the
just
village.
a lot of MHA, like the broad criticisms. Because the thing is, like, because MHA is so big, you do see a lot more of those broad criticisms, and they're like not even worth engaging with. Like, they're worth correcting because you can correct them in like 5 seconds, but they're not worth acknowledging as like, oh, that's a good point that we need to take seriously. Because it's not. It's just people who factually don't understand how manga work, and you
Yeah.
that's
I
can't
remember
take them seriously.
in our big search we found like one good criticism video, I think. It
Yeah,
was the
they, yeah.
there was the one I'm forgetting his name. I'll like have like it
Mhm.
posted here.
Basically, his point was he really liked the themes of Deku's mental state, and he
Yeah.
thought the resolution to it went by too fast and didn't explore it enough. It's like that's fine.
Yeah. Like if
I
you
think
wanted like
I wish something was explored more. Is I think always a fair thing that you wish happened.
yeah. And like like I could definitely see where the expectation comes from because like in early arcs like Deku will have a bunch of internal monologue about like what he's like thinking or what strategy he's
Yeah.
planning during like a test or whatever. When like Edge Crew you don't get as much as that. Like the guy even says like I'm literally looking at bare panels trying to guess what Deku is thinking, which I think is intentional to some degree.
Yeah,
But
like
like
I think it's
but like if
intentional, but I
you
can
but
understand
if you
where the
wanted
frustration comes from.
but if you wanted Deku to like trauma dump like afterwards like in a therapy session, like that could have been very cool and interesting too.
Yeah.
It just
It's
like didn't.
basically like I disagree, but your point is reasonable,
Yeah,
so I'm not like mad at you. Whereas like other
yeah.
people are like, why didn't Deku become Superman?
Why didn't he become Batman?
Very, 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 very confusing.
Yeah. So you want to talk about why the final arc was like really, really, really cool and good?
Sure. It had a lot of good fights.
It did,
The war.
unironically.
Well, actually, it didn't have that many fights, which was kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I
It
guess that
had
yeah.
it had what obviously you have less so you have like villains and then who's fighting them might shuffle out. So you have who's fighting all for one and
Spinner.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh well, first it's Hawks and Endeavor, then it's Tokoyami being the coolest man of all time, and then it's All Might, and then it's Bakugo. Or like, oh, who's fighting Shigaraki? It's like, oh, first it's Best Genius,
It's
then it's Bakugo,
everyone. It's
then it's
everyone. It's
Mirio, then
Deku,
it's
and then it's
Deku. Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. And then or like like, oh, who's fighting Dabi? Oh, it's Todoroki, then it's Endeavor, then it's Todoroki and Endeavor.
Yeah, and I thought
Or just like Toga was pretty much just Oshako the whole time.
yeah, I think like all like the endings or I guess like climaxes to each one was pretty good. Like I really like how like Todoroki like he's introduced and like it's like Todoroki, I made you so you'd have some ice powers to cool down your fire so you can make even cooler fire. But then like
Is there the one where it says like Todoroki used his power inverse to the way his dad planned?
yeah, so like he learned to accept like his fire side and all that, but like used it end up using it in a way that like his dad didn't predict that he would, which is pretty cool. And also like the fact
Mm-hmm.
that it emphasized his ice and like his mom also comes to help out later on to like stop Dabi because Dabi doesn't need flames right now. You should cool down, Dabi. Cool down,
Yeah,
Dabi. So like that was
I like
I
it.
thought that was really well made, I think. And
Bakugo versus so I disagreed with you saying Edgeku is the most exciting thing to read weekly. Wrong. It was All Might and then Bakugo fighting All for
baby,
One. That was
now
my
you
favorite thing to
feel
read
like
weekly.
number
Yeah, yeah,
one.
you
I
listen to that when you
played
read the
that
fight,
song.
whatever. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
care.
dude, it
No,
lined up so well on a.
no. The first fight was great because we saw some criticism video that like All Might getting his super suit didn't make sense because he had decided that you didn't need to be a fighter yet. That's not true for several reasons. One, uh, no, during Edgeku, All Might has several scenes, sometimes alone, sometimes with Stain, where he's very clearly wanting to put his life on the line and fight for the kids. And two is a line All Might says when he's fighting All for One, where he says, I can't give up my dream of trying to be the symbol of peace. So
Yeah.
even though Deku was able to drop that toxic ideology because he had a pep talk with his friends, All Might didn't get that. So All Might is still he's also fucking 50 something, so he's been doing this for a while. So
Yeah.
All Might is still being himself.
And dude,
It's
it's
also
like
cool because
like again, like the chapter 1 inversion thing. It's like, even though like Deku has all the power now and like I have nothing, I'm not gonna give up because he didn't give up in chapter 1. It's like, wow,
yeah, it's
he
very
reignited
nice.
his spark in being a hero, and then
Hmm.
like his younger self with like the white eyes, and like his eyes aren't black anymore, they're white again because he's alive again, he's young again, he's
Yeah,
so happy. Yeah, it was cool.
and
And then
just it's cool how he's like an old man sticking to his youthful dream, where All for One is slowly turning into a toddler, but he's this old evil fuck. And then God King Bakugo shows up, and it's
yeah.
cool because the one thing Bakugo told Deku several times is, "I'm not gonna let you get your chosen one victory." And what happens? Bakugo saves his mentor, breaks fate, and then defeats the Demon King. Which, in case you didn't notice, sounds like I'm describing like a fucking battle shonen's final
I know.
battle.
And dude, I loved that fight too because like All for One and Baku actually like start with like the same character flaw pretty much.
Yeah.
which is just like vanity, right? Like if Bakugo was like, "Oh, dude, Bakugo, your quirk's so cool, man. You're gonna be such a cool guy," and then he got a big head over it, and then he wanted to put other people down because he had such a cool, awesome quirk, and it's like, "I'm the most talented, coolest guy around." Obviously, it's just that like and like at first he said he admired All Might because All Might always won, and All For One said he admired the Demon King in the comic because he won. He just won at the end, and I thought that was cool. I want to be that guy. And
But then you
yeah,
could look at how they each interact with the one for all user that they know, and it's like one became controlling, abusive, and shut them out, where the other stopped doing that and used them as like a way to improve and grow. And it was great and good and a very good fight. Bakugo was a fucking lad.
yeah.
Also,
Oh,
we got
I really like
there's
the
a
Toga fight too, where like it ends with
Toga
Toga.
fight's phenomenal.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you have the cutest smile in the world, almost made me cry, and then B, Toga like learning like that there was like a more helpful way to use her quirk, was actually pretty cool because like it isn't just you sucky blood and you can scare people like you can imagine another timeline Toga becoming like a paramedic with an
Yeah.
ability like that.
Yeah. Once Ochako said Toga was normal and that they could hang out and talk together and that she was just a nice girl, Toga was able to do something that helped Ochako.
Yeah,
Because Toga literally just it's the same thing. Why did Toga take on the twice shit? Because Toga just wanted to help her friends the League.
yeah,
But also Toga has a really good line about why Shigaraki's destruction isn't fulfilling to anyone but Shigaraki. Because she has a line where she says, Dobby blew or she calls him Toya. Toya blew up my house, and that was nice because it got rid of that awful place where filled with memories, but I still have the memories. Nothing actually got fixed.
yeah,
Where she's literally like, I like the League's sentiment, but I know it won't get me what I want.
yeah. Oh man,
And
and
then the spin
Spinner.
fight's kind of awkward. I think we should get to that later because I don't I have a lot to
I'll
say
say
about
what
the
I like
spinner
about it. I'll
fight.
say what I like about it.
Yeah, we'll
Like
get
how
to the awkward later.
so like I like how like it's like Spinner our voice like that's what's on all the posters, but then like Spinner basically gives up his
Oh, no.
voice for more power, so that he
Oh
can
no,
try.
no, I think Spinner being like radicalized is, I think, the best part of the fight.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's all the other stuff that isn't bad per se, but is very, very awkward. We'll
Yeah.
get to
By
it
the
in
way, the
a
bad thing
later
we're
part.
talking about is he should have said, "Oh man, I'm gonna get 100 rings, and then I'll get a 1-up," and then he should have did a Sonic Dash forward.
Yeah, that's
He
clearly
should have
what we're
done
mad
that,
about.
but then he didn't do that. He didn't say "Mamma Mia," and
Hmm.
he didn't have enough video game references. Like, oh no, my HP is about to bottom out. Like, there's not enough of that. Uh,
Nice. Is that? I think yeah. Cause and then I think that's it. Oh, can we? If we
mostly.
talk about if we talk about MHA's toxic fan base.
Sure, we could talk about that.
Okay. So here's the thing about MHA fans. Do they sometimes? Okay, so let's talk about like the valid complaints. Oh, some of them have like weird pedo ships. Is that bad? Yes. Is that unique to MHA? No. What? No. Are you stupid?
Dude, I remember some people saying that the only confirmed couple was like Eri and what's the other
Kota.
boy's name? Kota.
Kota.
And it's like,
That
what
was
do you
weird.
the fuck are you talking about? They're 5.
Yeah.
They're 5.
No.
Stop it.
Yeah. No. Because basically the thing is, are there creepy MHA fans? Yes. Is that unique? No. No. Basically every anime fandom is gonna have weird people like that. That's not unique to MHA. Second, is sending the author death threats good? No. Don't do that. Is
Third,
that
is
unique?
sexualizing teenagers okay? If they're
Puff,
fictional
no,
drawings,
don't
I
you
don't
fucking
care.
no. Hey, Puff, no. Puff, you threw that in. I don't want to argue about that. Don't you throw that in. Don't you dare. Anyway, no, the second one is just, oh, some of them are like toxic and like are like mean to either people in the community or like the author. Is that bad? Yeah. Is that unique to MHA? No. Are you stupid?
It's not the worst case
Right.
I've seen, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And then here's what I'm going to say before I get to the other thing. One is the actual bad MHA fans were the people glazing it for basic things during season 1 and 2.
Oh, no, they were the worst. They were the worst. Yeah, we'll talk about them in
Gigax
the next
saying
thing.
MHA isn't a battle shonen; it's a character study because
We'll
the fights are about
oh my
characters.
god, yeah, we'll get into
Um,
that in the next one.
yeah.
We're gonna
Okay,
there's
so
not enough time for that.
here's the big thing about the terrible fan base. They're just talking about like gay teenagers doing silly little TikToks. And here's the thing. Are they cringy? Yes, they're teenagers. Teenagers
Absolutely.
are cringy. They're
Ew,
kids. Kids are
teenagers.
cringy.
Ow. I hate
Kids are cringy.
teenagers.
Of course they are. But here's the thing. Leave them be, because Puff, like, we watch like people talk like, look how cringe this is, and we're either like, that's just a funny joke, like, oh, the guy in the Deku mask saying eat your chicken din din. I laughed really hard.
That
That
was
was
a
just
good one.
funny.
That was a
And then
really good like Deku face
yeah,
they had
yeah.
going. Like
And then
wow.
if it and then if it and then if it wasn't funny, if it was just cringe, I just found it charming. So I was like, oh, good for them, they're having fun.
Yeah.
It's so funny when people are like, oh, this toxic evil fandom, and it's just like gay people existing and talking about how much they like shipping Todoroki and Deku. And here's the thing about shipping Todoroki and Deku. That one fucking line in the sports festival justifies why they were so into it, because that one fucking scene it was
Dude,
very
they're
gay.
just bros. They're just bros encouraging
No,
each
they
other.
are. They are. They weren't in that one scene though. He stopped being just Rose for that one scene when Deku calls out to him during the Bakugo fight. But generally,
Do you remember
yeah.
when we were
And
doing
then
that thing? Like it was like a tourney bracket with like the best MHA ship, and the two top contenders was All Might x Deku's mom for obvious
because we think
reasons.
it's funny.
Hilarious. And then two, this was the winner, Deku x everyone because it was funny saying Deku belongs to the streets.
Oh yeah.
Deku
Deku
belongs to
belongs
the
to the
streets.
streets. Yeah, because this thing they also act like. Because here's the thing: are some shippers mad that Deku didn't end up with Todoroki? Maybe if they exist, I haven't seen them. All I see are the loud nerds yelling that
Deku's a
Deku's
cuck.
friends hate him because they have jobs.
They hate him
Um,
because he's a cuck.
yeah. So do those people exist? Probably, but they're not that loud, so I don't care. Because here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing. I'm gonna say it with my heart and soul, and I mean it. Straight shippers are worse.
They yeah no like all right. I was saving this. Attack on
Because they're
Titan.
entitled.
Attack on Titan was way worse than this, and it was about two like heteronormative ships. Uh, the Historia fans and the Mikasa fans at each other. It was like literally a war, like
Or like
literally. Oh, like I obviously not literally, but like oh my
yeah, or
god,
puff like a callback.
holy
Callback to our recent
shit.
videos. Ichiruki versus Ichihime.
Okay,
That was
like
bad.
yeah, no, like thing is, I forgive that one because the anime like changed things
No, no,
about the
but like no,
story.
my point is still just the reason that in series where the odds of a gay ship happening are insanely fucking low, the gay shippers are fine because they're not over here being like my shit needs to happen. They're just like, look at my gay boys having gay sex in the corner. And the funny thing is people are like, oh dude, these stupid fans are rewriting history. And then it's a joke where it's like people tell me MHA isn't gay. But what about the chapter where Bakugo and Deku made out for 10 pages? People are like they're lying, and it's like that's a joke. They're joking, they're having fun because
Uh,
they know it's not going to happen, but they
like
like it and it's fun.
like
Whereas like you get straight shippers who are actively like, why didn't Jiro and Kaminari get together?
why didn't they
Or don't you do a
procreate?
hack?
Where's
Basically
my
because
hybrid kids?
basically because they know theirs have a slightly higher odd of happening, they're a lot more entitled to making sure it does and being pissed when it doesn't. They're
Like, all
annoying.
right, I guess to be fair about the Attack on Titan fans, like the author definitely baited it like as hard as he possibly could have.
Good
Cause
for him.
like I think I told you. I guess this is a spoiler for Attack on Titan, so I won't say it. Uh, but I want to say it because it's really funny. Okay. So
I
basically,
just
a
don't.
character became pregnant, and we didn't find out who the father was until literally the last chapter.
That's heat. That's heat.
that
No, it's because that's the thing. Now, the reason I had to specify series where gay ships are unlikely is because sometimes you read Heat like Blue Flag, where it's a love triangle where a guy likes a guy and a guy likes a girl and a girl likes a girl and a girl likes a guy, and it's Heat, and it's one of the Love Squares, one of the greatest fucking dramas
it
I've
was
ever
very
read.
fun manga, pretty cool, pretty
Literally, I'm
great.
just like, I hope the gay one happens. I want those men to be happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, are MHA fans kind of bad at times? Are they uniquely bad? No, no, they're not. Also,
No.
the answer is who has the worst fans, whatever the most popular series is. Jujutsu fans have been particularly annoying. Not recently because it's been on break, but like these past couple years, Jujutsu fans have
Stay
been pretty
mad,
fucking annoying.
JJK.
Yeah, or like Or like back when the JoJo anime was in full swing, JoJo fans were fucking
Oh yeah, I know.
unbearable.
Everyone would keep talking about how terrible the JoJo fans were
No,
every
except for the
time.
JoJo fans who kept saying they were the greatest fan base of all time.
Yeah.
Or like even One Piece fans during like Year 5 were fucking annoying.
No, they were more iconic than Super Saiyan. Wah,
I mean, in their
objectively.
defense,
Wah.
most of that was giant channels doing interaction bait, but
Yeah,
still. So it's just like the answer to the most toxic fandom is usually just whatever the most popular one is,
yeah. Because
because that makes
that's just what big fandoms
because
become.
they talk the most, and whichever group has the most yappers means it's the one that has the highest odds of having bad ones.
Yeah.
Wow, statistics, law of large numbers. It's not the law of large numbers,
All
but
right.
who cares?
All right. Anything else we
Is
want
there
to add to the end of this one?
is there anything we want in this one? Because this is just the general, like covering. I think the three
Like
biggest discourses, which are Deku bad,
Deku, the
ending bad,
ending.
fans bad.
Yeah.
Those are like the three huge ones.
Yeah.
Is there
Hmm.
anything really on that level that we need to cover? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't like the rest are a lot more like niche stuff or
Yeah,
like
I
particular
think
takes.
the next one will probably be some of our criticisms, probably yapping about vigilantes for a little bit, which will be fun. I like vigilantes. Um, and oh, and then also just like fun tidbits, like I can think of a couple things I like about Horikoshi that's like unique to him that'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah, like he always
And
credits
then the
assistants,
third
which is
one,
awesome.
the third one is going to be us screaming about any dumb comments we get because I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, I know. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Wait, Puff, I forgot something. We're at 1,000 subs,
Oh right,
hooray!
yay! Thanks everyone for helping us get to 1,000 subs. I hope you enjoyed the wacky wrestling video.
In case you're wondering why that wasn't referenced in that video, it's because that video was recorded like half a year ago.
Yeah, no,
uh,
unironically. Uh,
Thanks for 1,000 subs, you guys. Very
yeah.
cool of you. Very
The channel
shocking.
is actually monetized now, so you might see ads, and I'm trying to remove mid-roll ads to all the videos.
God, people do
So
not deserve mid rolls on mid.
yeah, I know. Like if you're nice enough to hear me speak in this context, I don't want to throw a fucking ad in the middle of the
Shit
video.
mics completely off the top of our head,
Yeah.
actually
So like
brain dead.
if you're seeing ads in the middle of the video, either I'm doing something wrong or I'm being lazy. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you see ads, maybe if you see an ad in the middle of a video, you could comment once. We don't need 50,
No,
and then.
give us 50 so that we can
Oh, you're right. You're right.
go.
You're right. We need interactions. If you see mid rolls, comment so that we can get promoted and also Puff can fix it. uh,
All right. So yeah,
that is
yeah,
all.
yeah, give us comments. Teen Titans go.